Howdy, kings, queens, and germs. It's Aiden here, back with another Davinci Resolve tutorial. Last time I told you how to make free auto-generated captions and subtitles, and then immediately afterwards, Davinci in 18.5 decided to just add it in as a feature. So that's a little unfortunate, which means I got to come back with an even stronger tutorial that hopefully Davinci won't just add into their platform. So today, I'm going to be telling you how to make this wiggly text. You might have seen this effect on gaming TikToks and shorts and videos. I saw it from this little tweet telling you how to do it in Premiere Pro. The issue, however, is that none of these effects that this guy lists in the video is in Davinci Resolve. So I'm like, well, how do you make this exactly? It sort of became my mission, if you will, to figure out a Resolve alternative. And it was a bit of a pain, but we managed to do it. And I want to show you what it looks like right here. Check it out. Nice, right? Not too bad. The best part is that it's made with very simple and easy effects. What makes up the wiggly text as you know it is three things: a text plus node, and then two fusion effects. One is noise distortion. Keep in mind this is available in the 18.5 version of Resolve. If you're running older versions, you can still do this, but it'll have to be in the Fusion tab. And then the stop motion Patrick Sterling preset, which came out a while ago, a couple years ago, actually. If you want to know how to download that, you can go to Sterling Supply Co/products, and in the free product section, you have the stop motion fusion macro. Go ahead and download that, and then drag the macro into the little edit effects tab here. That way it's easily accessible. So once you have all that sorted out, let me show you how to make the effect. The first thing you're obviously going to want to do is make the text itself. So I'm going to keep this pretty simple. I recommend large, sort of bold fonts and big sizes. That way you can notice it a little bit more. Then we're going to go to shading, add ourselves a little outline. Let's boost up the thickness. Everybody loves a good outline. Make it black. And then we're done. You can obviously mess with this to your heart's content, but once your text is done, we're going to move on now to the actual effect. Let's start first with noise distortion. And as you can see, it looks pretty distorted. The problem is it doesn't move. So there's a specific set of actions that we're going to need to do in order to get it moving the way we want it to. And it's a bit of a pain, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's start first with the detail tab, and I put this at 0.85, again sort of under the default. You'll notice the default's this little circle here, and the same is true for contrast. I'm going to put that at 0.35. You can play with these two settings and it won't mess up the effect, so feel free to change these. I just recommend keeping it below the default. Something I would not recommend changing is scale. We're going to bump that up to 5, and once we do, keep it there. Do not mess with it any further. Another thing that we can change is the seethe rate. This is going to add movement to it, but as you can see, it still doesn't look right yet. You want to go ahead and click discontinuous so it doesn't repeat the same pattern. It changes it up. Keep discontinuous clicked no matter what. Do not change this. And then finally, we're going to go to displacement controls, X and Y, and change all of these to Luma. Then finally, we're going to add a 2 to the X offset, X refraction, Y offset, and Y refraction. Again, once you change these settings, do not mess with them. Really, the only things I'd be messing with is detail, contrast, and the little seethe rate. Everything else, kind of keep them as I have it here. So I'm going to let you look at it for a bit. Here's noise controls. And here's displacement controls. Now we're already pretty close to our final effect, but if you notice, it looks a little smooth. What we're wanting is something a bit more jittery, almost like it was hand-drawn a little bit. And the way we achieve that is by cutting the frame rate in half, or even more if you want it slower. I thought at first the easiest way to do this would be to go into speed change and mess with it, but it doesn't play nice with all these effects sometimes. So what I figured I needed was something a little bit built into Fusion, and that's where this Patrick Sterling stop motion preset comes in. You drag that over, and then, since it's also a little fusion effect, you can open it up. And then what I found worked the best was moving the strength up from 2 to 10. And what that does is essentially slows down the frame rate to give our desired result, which is pretty cool. Again, you can mess with this toggle if you want. Like, we can move it down to 8 per se, so it looks slightly more fluid. That looks pretty nice, actually. But I wouldn't go too far down, because if you have it at, let's say, 2, it's still going to look relatively flowy and weird. There's sort of a sweet spot where you want it to look jittery, but not too jittery. So you can just kind of play around with these settings. I like to keep it at 10. Once you're done with your effect, there's 2 different ways you could save it. The first is relatively easy. You simply drag your text into a power bin, and this power bin will show up in every project. Then you can drag it down here, and then just change the title to, let's say, I don't know, Poggers, and move a background behind it. And there, it's available. So that's pretty easy. You just got to type in the title every time. Another way you could do it that'd be a little bit more complicated is if you go into Fusion, add the noise distortion and stop motion as 2 separate nodes, and then save it out as a macro. That way you can apply it on as an effect to any text plus node. So it just depends if you would rather bring it up from a power bin or have it as an effect, whichever is easiest to you, but both work relatively well. But that's it for this tutorial. Pretty short and simple. Be sure to like it and, make me feel good in the comments if you want. I mean, you ain't gotta, but it'd be pretty cool. So that's it for me. Goodbye, everybody.